Well, I already ranked the movies. Now it's time to rank the Jasons. Coming in dead last at number 11 is Jason from Jason Goes to Hell. I love the look of Jason in Jason Goes to Hell when he's actually on the screen. But that's really about it. This movie takes the Jason Voorhees character and mythos and completely just shits all over it. And outside of his actual appearance, I despise everything about Jason in this movie because it's not Jason. Everything from hearing him grunt, scream, to turning him into a demon slug worm piece of crap is all just terrible. Bottom line, this just isn't Jason Voorhees. It's somebody's piss poor fan fiction masquerading as Jason.
He stinks and I don't like him.
Coming in at number 10 is Jason from Freddy vs. Jason. I hate Jason in Freddy vs. Jason. Yeah, I said it. I hate his derp appearance, I hate his clothes, I hate his walk, I hate his fucking broadsword-sized machete, I hate the way he comes off like a bitch to Freddy, and I especially hate that they made him afraid of water. Point blank, if it wasn't for the awful possession crap in Jason Goes to Hell, Jason from Freddy vs. Jason would sit at the very bottom of this ranking. Hell, this Jason sucks so hard that I think Roy Burns is a better Jason. Oh, god damn it, Roy, not again. I remember sitting in the theater opening night and thinking to myself, this Jason just doesn't feel right. And maybe it's because New Line just gave more shits about Freddy since he was their baby, and they could care less about what they did with Jason. But Jason in this is just dime store Voorhees. He stinks, and he stinks on ice.
Fucking thing sucks!
Son of a bitch.
Number 9 is Jason from Jason X. When it comes to Jason X, we got two Jasons to really talk about here. Normal Jason and Lord Zed. Now I actually don't mind the look of Normal Jason. It's something a little different than what we've been used to. You know, the mask does look a little different, a little sleeker, and he has that awful patchy looking hair, but it still feels like classic Voorhees to me. But when he becomes a chromed out cyborg, it all just becomes a shit show. Uber Jason is just ridiculous, and it doesn't even remotely feel or look like Jason to me. He looks like a big chrome turd in Under Armour tights.
We must protect this house!
And furthermore, I just don't like the way Jason is treated in this movie. He is not taken seriously, and his menace is always undercut with a stupid joke or really poor humor. And to me, nothing ruins your horror movie faster than when the main characters don't take the villains seriously. Because if they can't be bothered to give a shit, why should we? Coming in at number 8 is Jason from the original Friday the 13th. I thought about leaving little boy Jason from part 1 off of this list simply because there's not much to him in the original. But I decided to throw him on here because it was his drowning that was the catalyst for Pamela wanting to go on a teenager slaughter spree.
Did you know that a young boy drowned the year before those two others were killed? The counselors weren't paying any attention. They were making love while that young boy drowned. Look what you did to him. Look what you did to him!
And the other reason he's on this list is the ending itself. Without Jason leaping out of the water at the end of the original and scaring the shit out of moviegoers in the process, for better or for worse, we very well may not have ever gotten the Friday the 13th franchise as we know it. So for as little screen time as Jason got, he had a lasting impact that still reverberates in horror movies to this very day.
We didn't find any boy.
Then he's still there.
Coming in at number 7 is Sackhead Jason from Part 2. I don't feel like Sackhead Jason gets a lot of love when it comes to the individual Jason rankings that I've seen. Maybe it's because the kills in Part 2 were nothing really noteworthy, well except for 2 of them. Or maybe it's because when up against the other Jasons in the rest of the franchise, Sackhead is a little humdrum and a little unremarkable, especially from a look standpoint.
Oh no, you didn't!
I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the look, and like I said on my franchise ranking video, Psycho Hermit Jason is pretty creepy, and he does sit at this spot on my list based on that creep factor alone. But there's no denying that the hockey mask really helped separate Jason from the rest of the horror pack, and it also saved him from kind of just becoming another sack-wearing cliche. Coming in at number 6 is Jason from Part 3. I know this is the Jason that made the goalie mask the most infamous face wear in a horror movie since Michael Myers donned the face of James T. Kirk. But if you take that away, there's really not much to him. Much like the movie itself, Part 3 Jason is just a big bag of meh. Part 3 Jason really doesn't do much beyond just watching people from a distance and creeping around a barn for half the movie. And at the end, he is too easily outsmarted and outmatched by our heroine Chris in situations that feel more like they were ripped out of a Scooby-Doo cartoon. Part 3 Jason is just pretty average. There's nothing really that is bad about him, but also there's nothing really remarkable either. And in a franchise where you got a Jason of every flavor, this one is just plain vanilla. Not that there's anything wrong with vanilla, for a lot of people that works. Just not for me. Coming in at number 5 is Jason from the Friday the 13th remake. The best part about the 2009 remake was, in fact, Jason himself. Derek Mears was great. He really brought Jason back to his roots by being speedy and agile instead of the slow and methodic undead Jason that has become the stereotype. It's just a shame that the rest of the movie fails this performance. I don't care how you try and rationalize it, Jason kidnapping a girl so he could play house with her in his Viet Cong tunnels is just dumb. And I also never really cared for the look of Jason in this movie. I really can't put my finger on or really elaborate as to why. Something about the look of his mask and his tattered jacket, it just doesn't really jive with me. Call me old-fashioned or out of date, but I just prefer the look of the older Jasons as opposed to the one in this remake.
What the? That shit ain't fucking right, dude. What the fuck?
Coming in at number 4 is Jason from Part 8. Part 8, all things considered, is really filled to the brim with a lot of stupid and a lot of cliche. But I still love the Jason in this flick. Everything from his look, the kills, to Hodder's performance. But the biggest detriment to this Jason in Part 8, though, is Rennie's flashbacks to a younger Jason trying to drown her while she was little. Which, by the way, good luck trying to make sense out of where that fits in the continuity with the rest of the films. But not only that, it's also the very end. Jason's demise is just a big cornucopia of what the f***. Everything from his stupid unmasked look where he looks like a melting Muppet, to his dino screams, and eventually to him turning back into a little boy.
That's stupid. That don't make no sense.
Out of all the films, this has easily got to be the worst ending for Jason ever. But again, all that said, I still really like Jason, and I still really like this movie.
Damn enchiladas!
Kicking off the top 3, coming in at number 3 is Jason from Friday the 13th, Part 4. When it comes to the best human Jason, you need look no further than Part 4. Ted White's Jason is tactical, brutal, and scary, and coming off of the daytime soap hilarity of Part 3, this Jason was one not to be f***ed with.
Ted! Hey, Ted, where the hell's corkscrew?
But credit also has to go to Joseph Zito's direction and restraint of showing too much of Jason. The lack of seeing Jason on screen really made the times when he did eventually show up have a huge impact. It made Jason himself more of a force that shows up just simply to kill, and less of a slapsticky heavy like he felt in Part 3. And credit as well has to go to the maestro himself, Tom Savini, who returned to do all the awesome makeup and kill effects, which also lent to Jason's badassery in this flick. Coming in at number 2 is Jason from Part 6. Part 6 is my favorite Friday the 13th flick, and I do love CJ Graham as Jason. After Imposter Roy and the franchise hiccup known as Part 5, Jason was brought back, but this time as an undead zombie, revenant, Frankenstein thing, whatever you want to call him. But he also returns with a vengeance. Part 6 Jason is just an unstoppable savage. And while I do love me some human Jason, I can't deny that up to this point, Jason has never been better. There is just something about seeing Jason unwavering in the face of everything thrown at him, whether it's shovels, cars, or guns. He is just deadly stoic, and he gives zero fucks this time around. But as much as I love Part 6, and as much as I love CJ Graham, there is one Jason that I think just does it a little bit better. And so that means coming in at number 1 is Jason from Part 7. Everything about this Jason is perfect, and it's widely considered to be the definitive look of the character himself. And I gotta admit, I agree. I love the look of the ripped up clothes, the decayed skin, the exposed bones, even down to the little details of the machete wound from Part 4, the chain still around his neck from the end of Part 6, to the torn up mask himself thanks to Megan and a boat prop. Part 7 Jason is really a masterpiece in makeup effects, and it's a look that they still haven't been able to top to this day. Far beyond his appearance, it's also the way that Kane Hodder performed in the role that really redefined the character and also put his own personal stamp on it. He took what CJ Graham did in Part 6 and elevated it to the next level. He brought an unmatched physicality and ferociousness to Jason. And the addition of the little touches like the way he moves his head or his exaggerated breathing really makes you believe this Jason is just a volcano of machetes waiting to explode. It's those little personal touches Kane added that really makes his Jason stand out above the rest, and it's what makes his Jason in Part 7 the best. Well, we've reached the end of the road, freaks, and that was my ranking of all the Jasons from the Friday the 13th movies. Do you guys agree? Do you disagree? What are your own personal rankings? Please post them below. I would like to see them. As always, like, comment, and subscribe. Adios, and GTFO.